Right, so we've been having a lot of questionable weather, either snow or rain or very windy days. So I've been putting off finishing loading to take this load down. So I finally got a couple of days here, and I've reorganized it a little bit. I try to get the taller items down the center of the trailer, so the tarp will lay on there better because we are expecting rain. It seems like every other day. So I turned the file cabinets so they're more in the center, but the bandsaw is still off to the right there just because of weight distribution, trying to keep the weight as even as I can down the middle and side to side. I'm gonna take the handle off the top of there so I can wrap that machine separately. I'm gonna wrap this drill press here separately as well. And next is loading the lathe on there. I'm going to go right down the center here. It's not a very big lathe, so it'll fit there. And then the rest is going to be just bins and tools and different things in case we have a breakdown or blocks and wood blocks. We need to prop up ramps to do the unloading. Where we have to do the unloading is a storage unit. They're brand new units, but there's no electric there. There's not even any lights at nighttime there, so kind of limited. Have to try to bring what I think I'll need to get these heavy items off of there, especially the safe and the bandsaw. So do have the winch on the trailers. I have a snatch block. We'll probably snatch block it and use the winch to try to guide it off the side of the trailer. The safe as well. It's too tight in between the storage units to jackknife the trailer and get the back of the trailer up nice against the overhead door opening of the storage unit. So we're going to pull along sideways and offload things to the side, off the side of the trailer. And this is just another shot from the front of the trailer. Not sure on the weight after I get done putting the lathe on there and a lot of other things that I think I'll need. I'm going to run down to the scales. There's a truck stop. Oh, I don't know, six miles down the road. I'll head down there. It'll be the first time I've weighed anything on the scale, so that'll be an experience. Doesn't sound too difficult though. Everything packed in there pretty tight. There's still some, some space under here. If I can get something underneath there that I think will stay there once it's all, the load is all tarped, I'll do that. I do have a gap in here, but those blue shelves are going to go down in there. They're off of this cart. That was a recent change. I decided to move that up here to give me more room on the back. The heaviest items, so I got everything in here pretty tight. They're up against one another. So once it's strapped down and all strapped together, that should stay there. These two heavier items, the bandsaw, I did screw some blocks of wood down to the deck of the trailer so that doesn't shift on me. As well as the safe over there, I had to double up some 2x there to kind of cage that all in, and it's up against the wood sides and the fender there. And I blocked it on 3 sides, so there's the 3rd side. So, but everything else is in there pretty tight. I don't think I'm going to screw anything else down to the deck as far as what I have on there already. I'll have to do some creative loading on the back here because it'll be smaller, more looser items, not as large of items as those. I'll have to hold those in somehow. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Time to move the trailer back by the shop to get the lathe and a couple other things. Maybe that large surface plate will go on there too. Nope. Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4.
So we got the, I think it's the fourth load taken down to where we are planning to move. It was mostly uneventful on the way down, not like the last trip when I ran over a dead deer during the rut season there. But the 25-year-old tow vehicle, the Suburban, 99 Suburban, no issues with that. It was more my 1.5-year-old car trailer was having issues with one of the wheels grabbing as soon as I put my foot on the brake. That would tend to grab, lock up, skid. So I eventually took a look at it and called the trailer, a service guy at the trailer place where I bought it from, and he suggested just clipping one of the wires on the one wheel. That's the problem. So I can get home and tear into it more. So that's what I did, and then after a while, the other wheel on that same axle started giving me a similar issue, not as bad, but, and I didn't clip that wire, so I had brakes on 3 tires, 3 wheels on the 600 miles home. But it was basically an empty trailer. It didn't have the, oh, it was probably 7,000 pounds of weight on there. I'll show you the ticket from where I went to the scale at the truck stop before we headed out this time. But of course, when we were trying to finish loading the trailer here at home, we were having issues with the weather. It wasn't supposed to rain, or at least a very small chance of rain the day when we were trying to finish organizing the trailer and lashing everything down. So it started to rain and actually sleet, and we had to cover things up and uncover things and wipe everything down, spray everything down, and then work on it some more. And then another kind of cloudburst came through with some rain, no sleet the second time, but we had to quick try to cover it up. And of course everything gets wet by the time you get it covered up. But the sun did come out in between, and we were able to take the tarps back off, dry them, and get everything wiped down again. The boxes were still, what boxes I did have on the trailer were pretty wet, so, but we were able to lay them in the sun on the, on the trailer, on the other equipment and items that were on the trailer, and dry those out before we did the final lash down and headed out. And I don't really have any pictures of unloading the trailer, even though there was bigger pieces on here and some machines, because it was, once we got down there was a likelihood of some rain. So, and it was like 85 degrees, so it was hot, and hot for us anyway for this time of year. And so we just had to hurry up and get it unloaded and put it in the storage unit. So we have 3 storage units down in that area now that have just shop equipment in. Some household boxes and stuff and some yard items, but mainly shop equipment, garage type of items. So we, like I said, we didn't take any pictures or video any of that, because we just had to hurry up and get it in there before we got rained on. And it did rain, but much later than what the forecast was. This is springtime, so it's it's ever-changing forecast as far as precipitation. So we did what we could there, so. But what I have to do now is, finish up from the trip is I gotta wrap up all my straps. We were just in a hurry and hot and just trying to get the job done, so we just threw all the straps in this basket, this milk crate, and lashed it down in the trailer and try to finish our trip. We did look at several houses. We were down there. None of them really struck our fancy, other than one that was under contract. So as far as I know, we're somewhere in line. If that deal falls through, we're somewhere in line to be one of the next people that have a chance to bid on it. So it's wrapping up straps, folding up tarps, that kind of thing. Some of the properties we looked at were down gravel roads. This is a rural property we want. Okay, I got it. Thanks. So many of the properties were down gravel roads, like I was saying. It was more rural properties we're looking for. And so we've had to wash the trailer in because we didn't have a place to put the trailer at the time. We had trouble getting motel rooms that would take a dog. We brought one of our German Shepherds with us, a male dog, and we didn't reserve anything ahead of time because we were going to be there, Sunday night, Monday night, kind of the off days of the week. But in that area, the busier time is during the week rather than on the weekend, we were told by one manager of one hotel. So we ended up staying overnight in a rest stop, actually, like a state rest stop, not a truck stop, but like a state park kind of rest stop. And so I'll put up one picture of that. That was in the rain. It was as a cold front was moving through, kicking out some of the hot air. So it was raining like crazy. It was hot overnight. It was humid. And of course, the only thing that I didn't have prepared with the Suburban was the air conditioning. I had a lot of work done to it because it had never run since I've owned it, but I had a new compressor put on it and then a big line put on there and last year, and it worked, but it leaked out the coolant, the refrigerant, the end of last year, so I didn't bother to get it charged because it wasn't that hot yet. But we had a warm spell just as we were heading down, and so that brought warmth and humidity, and then the thunderstorms the night we stayed at the rest stop. So we couldn't run the air. We couldn't keep the windows open because it was raining, but it it would rain, stop, so we had to keep opening the windows, you know, once the rain stopped, so we wouldn't get more moisture in. Of course, the windows are fogging up like crazy and all that good stuff. The dog didn't like being in the vehicle in the rain, just kind of restless, which kept us awake, so we got very little sleep that night. My wife and I each got about 2 hours sleep. Of course, the dog slept real good the next day as we were driving around. But we did find a room in the area. Eventually, some rooms opened up. There was some baseball players that actually took up the whole one hotel. There's 5 hotels, I believe, in the area. Only one would take dogs. So that one was filled up with baseball players in town. Who knew, you know, during the week, baseball players would be taking up the whole hotel. So we couldn't get in there the nights we had wanted to. We had to, like I said, spend the night in at the rest stop, and then, so we did eventually get into that hotel. We spent 2 nights there, and, you know, met with some people, an attorney in the area we plan on using for the purchase of the property, and we met with a realtor because we called about one specific property that we were really interested in, that we were keeping our eye on, and of course that one was under contract. So, but it went pretty well in the hotel with the dog. The dog did really good in the hotel. I had taken the dog down on the previous trip, just myself and that same dog, so that went pretty well actually. This time with my wife and the dog. And yeah, I had to do a little work and check some things on the burb at the motel. I did not check the fluids in the drivetrain, you know, the transfer case and the 2 diffs, so I checked that. Those were both good. Then when I got to experiencing more issues with the brakes and that one wheel as we're driving around with an empty trailer, I took that, popped that wheel off, and you know, of course, those drums on that trailer, in the trailer, they don't, with electric brakes, they don't come right off after you get the wheel off. You gotta undo the outer bearing. You know, there's a castle nut and outer bearing to get that whole assembly off, and I wasn't going to do that in a motel parking lot on a windy day. I just don't open up that kind of stuff outside unless it's a very calm day. So, like I said, I just clipped the wire. Getting the wheel off made it possible for me to clip the wire. The drum spun fine, so there was a little noise in there, like there might have been a part of a spring or something. It wasn't interfering with it rolling, but it was making a little noise. Maybe that's the issue. When I put my foot on the brake, it's in between the shoe and the drum. I don't know. I still haven't gotten the part because it's windy here now at home. So, and all I have here is a driveway to open it up. So I'm not going to do that quite yet. So it's cleaning up things from the trip and getting ready to start loading other machines. We got the mill over here. I don't know if you can see that, so I'll turn the camera. Got the mill over here to put on. The Big Joe, of course, that's a heavier item. And then these file drawers. Basically, I'm using this as a toolbox, so I have a lot of tools in there. That's heavy. That's going to have to be, you know, all the drawers taken out, the cabinet moved, and then the drawers put back in. 2 people handling each drawer because I don't want to rip all the tools out. I did lighten up some of the drawers by taking some larger wrenches and tools and items and put them in bins and boxes that have already been moved down now wheeling around here, just have this little cabinet here. I got the bench center project I'm working on, my Kennedy, all my machinist tools. That's heavy, of course. I would like to take the tools possibly on the last trip. So the Big Joe and the mill, and then the large 36-inch bandsaw that you've seen in some of my previous videos. That will be the bulk of one trip. And while we were down in the area, we did get to one of my daughters. I have 3 daughters, and one is living in that area with her husband and son, our grandson. So we were able to get over there and get some items out of their garage that we had taken down a year and a half ago. That was our first load down there. That was an interesting trip because we ran into snow for the first 3 hours. So that really slowed us down on that trip. And that was the first time pulling that new trailer. It's a 20-foot trailer. And so yeah, that was an interesting trip. So we were able to at least get some items that were in their garage, you know, welders and, you know, different things like that. Got that out of his garage there and put it in the storage unit to kind of top off the 3 storage units that we have. And it had some ladders and scaffold and stuff like that. So that was all interesting, and it was nice to see them again. So we're looking forward to seeing them some more when we're down there in the general area. We won't be in the same town or even the same county, most likely, but we'll be, you know, within a couple of hours away from them. So it's a lot better than 9 to 12 hours away, which is what we are now, depending on what we're hauling down there. It takes 9 to 12 hours. We did drive all the way straight back this time with an empty trailer. That wasn't too bad. We did stop and look at several houses in the morning as we were crawling out of that area, and that's where a lot of the gravel road stuff came in. And we did stop for, you know, a sit-down breakfast at one place on the way back. So what we're finding down, this is a southern state, one of the southern states, so what we're finding down there is not quite the food available in restaurants like we have up here, so that's a little different. We have to look a little harder for different restaurants, you know. One time we were in a major town that we were considering moving near on the outskirts of. Like I said, we're on a rural property. You know, all we really saw by our short visit there was just a lot of fast food places. I mean, there was like, they have what's called a Colton's, which is like I don't know, like a Bonanza steakhouse kind of thing. And we didn't go there because it was, again, we had the dog with us and we didn't want to leave him alone. It was one of those it was still hot at that time, and the only shade we could park by was behind the restaurant, right where guys were coming out, you know, emptying the garbage, you know, kitchen employees, and he barked at everybody, so, which is good in one way. That's kind of why we took him. So that didn't work out, so we ended up going, I don't remember where, but anyway, it's a different environment, you know, food-wise. So that'll be an adjustment, but we'll just have to look harder. You always have those favorite restaurants wherever you live, wherever you're located. One fortunate thing is when we met with the real estate attorney down that area, he had a nice rural property, 110 acres, and you know, we were forward enough to ask him if we could drop our trailer there, or if he had a property somewhere we could drop our trailer. And he was very accommodating. He let us put our trailer right there behind his office, which was, again, it was a rural property, so he a separate building for his office. So we were able to put the trailer there and do some of our scouting out, some other properties without the trailer for a while. So that was fortunate. It was nice to drive around through town, and it seems like that particular town, which was over 10,000 people anyway, but going through the streets in the town, I'm talking the major streets, major state routes, they were very narrow, so all the curbs were black from people's tires. I imagine trucks and trailers being the semi-trucks and the trailers being the wider vehicles were doing most of that. And I don't recall rubbing into any. My trailer tires do not look all rubbed, you know, from doing that. I mean, I of course slowly drove over some as I was turning into businesses or something, trying to find a place to get some food or something. But so that was interesting how narrow the streets were, and it had a center turn lane, but to get that in they had to narrow up the lanes, and yeah, that was interesting, different and interesting. So, but of course, once we're living there, we're not going to be pulling the trailer the whole time, every time we go to or through town, but just be driving our vehicle, so that will be less of an issue. Ready for the next trip. One little whoopsie is when we went to my daughter's house to get some stuff out of their garage. I had this oscillating spindle sander there, and it's got a lot of smaller attachments, smaller parts, so I didn't put it in the open trailer. I put it inside the Suburban, and then I forgot it was in there, so we started heading back, and our first stop, all of a sudden I realized, oh no, I still have this, so I ended up moving this back. Now it's got to be moved back down. Lifesaver if you're ever traveling somewhere intact. Especially if you're towing something. We did have one incident with the Suburban. I went out to retrieve something, probably take the dog out to one night at one of the motels, and the next morning my battery's dead. I had left the interior lights on, so fortunately I had the deep cycle battery for the trailer winch, and I was able to use that to jump the car and didn't have to ask for any favors.